Hey guys, welcome to our EDL Season 3 Week 3 video. We just had a pretty bad loss last week against Spooks and the Downtown Duskulls. We misplayed pretty hard. Overall we played pretty poorly. But that's okay, you know, it's still early days. We're 1-1 with a neutral differential. It's okay, you know. This week we're taking on Cubingguy and the Porkbelly Eiscues. He's got off to an 0-2 start with a -6 differential, but he is the Season 2 champion. So, you know, he's still really good. He just hasn't had the best of starts. So we're going to be taking on him and Porkbelly Eiscues this week. He's got a pretty scary team, but I don't know, I'm not exactly looking forward to this matchup too much. I'm really nervous about this just because he's, you know, the champion. Although I haven't lost to him yet. Like, we've played a few times in the past, but I haven't lost to him before. This might be the first time, hopefully it isn't. But let's just get straight to check out the matchup. Check out what he's got on his team. So he's got his Z user, which is Tapu Lele. Tapu Lele setting up the Psychic Terrain. It is a really powerful Psychic Fairy type, 130 special attack with a pretty good speed stat, typically run with Scarf or maybe a bit of bulk. This thing is an absolute powerhouse and was like banned in draft leagues for a very long time, but people have we started to bring it back, as well as Slash. Those are it's kind of one of those mons that was just like not great enough for Ubers, but like really good in OU and really good in draft league as well. What Psychic Terrain does though is it removes priority, which makes Bullet Punch on my Mega Scizor like it doesn't work, it fails, which is really interesting and kind of changes up a bit of a dynamic there for me, and really messed me up. He's got a Blissey, which is a really specially, well, bulky on the special side wall. It's one of his it's one of his 2 wish passes, maybe 3. I don't know if Pidgeot gets it. I think I feel like it might, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't. Anyway, Blissey's his primary wish passer. Really bulky special wall. I'm not sure if it'll come or not, but I wouldn't be surprised if it does. It's just really annoying to take down, and really, like, even though it's only got 10 defense, its HP stat is through the roof, and it can still like sort of take a hit or 2. He's got a Gastrodon, which is his bulky water type, really bulky water and ground type, with its only weakness being grass. It's got the Storm Drain ability as well, giving it an immunity to water. It's got a really great big HP stat, as well as pretty decent defenses across the board. 68 defense, 82 special defense paired with that HP makes him really good. It gets Recover, so it can heal itself back up. Toxic, it typically runs Toxic, Recover, then Scald, Ice Beam, Earth Power, something like that. That's what you usually see on it. He's got a Porygon 2, which is a really bulky Eviolite mon. A lot of his Pokemon are really bulky. Really bulky Eviolite mon with really great defenses already, plus that multiplied by 1.5 or something because of the Eviolite. It makes this thing really hard to take down. Also with its 105 special attack stat and its ability Analytic, like a Spec set is not unheard of. Spec Porygon 2 is definitely a thing that could come, but I'm not sure if it will. He's got a Xatu, which is his other wish passer, more of a low tier wish passer that also gets dual screen, typically runs setting those up, as well as U-turn for momentum. It gets a bit of coverage like Heat Wave, but nothing too special. He's got a Rotom Frost, which is an electric ice type, pretty much like any other Rotom, except it's got Blizzard instead of whatever other move it might have. Really fast, although it's electric and ice typing make it like offensive dual typing make it the most offensive Rotom form in the game, in my opinion. And because ice electric is like a fantastic offensive dual typing. The problem is that his only ice move is Blizzard. He doesn't get Ice Beam. If he got Ice Beam, it'd probably go up a tier or 2, but you know, it is what it is. It's still a threat though. I've used it before, and it's like it can really put in the work if you don't prep for it. He's got a Pidgeot, a Mega Pidgeot, which I absolutely despise. I have a curse. I tend to lose to teams with Mega Pidgeot and as well as teams with Ditto. I lost last week to a team with Ditto. I'm pretty sure Spooks has Ditto. Yeah, he does. And this week we've got a Mega Pidgeot to take on, which I'm not looking forward to. It's got a really, really high special attack stat, and it's his fastest one on his team at 121. Typically, it's got no guard as well, so its Hurricanes hit with 100% accuracy. It also gets Heat Wave for coverage, U-turn for momentum, Roost for recovery, stuff like that. It also gets set up like Work Up and Agility, which is definitely something to watch out for. He's got a Ferrothorn, which is a bulky grass steel type with fantastic defenses. It's 4 times weak to fire, as well as a few other weaknesses like fighting, I think. Maybe one more, but I could be wrong. This thing typically hazard stacks, sets up leech, gets leech seed off for recovery. That's its only form of recovery, except for leftovers. Could also be running Rocky Helmet to really punish my physical Pokemon, which wouldn't be unheard of. He's got a Cinderace, which is a really fast, powerful fire type that hits like a truck with Pyro Ball, which is essentially Flare Blitz without recoil and only a 10% chance to miss. So that's really good. It's better than Flare Blitz in my opinion. Really high attack stat, really high speed stat. It's not Libero, which is fantastic, but it's still really, really strong and definitely something to watch out for. He's got a Hitmonlee, which is his terrain abuser, or his most primary terrain abuser, with the Unburden. If this thing gets up to +2 with an Unburden boost, I think we just lose the game. That's like how powerful this thing is with its 120 attack stat, and it's got a really good special defense stat as well. This thing can be really problematic if we let it set up in our face. And last but not least, we have a Druddigon, which is another one of his stealth rockers. He's got a number of them, which are fairly reliable, and this is one of them. Really bulky dragon type, probably the best defensive dragon type I think, at least in my opinion, the most best defensive, reliable dragon type. Gets abilities like Mold Breaker and Rough Skin, and it's got pretty decent defenses. Can run like Assault Vest, can run Rocky Helmet, can run Leftovers and stuff, and it can take hits fairly well because Dragon resists a lot of things. Looking at his type matchup though, he's got a pretty big fighting and rock weakness, which is something we tried to exploit. But that's really it, because he's only got these big weaknesses, but he doesn't really have weaknesses to anything else. It's like only that, which makes it a very interesting team, but also a very good team, because he's drafted a team with not a lot of weaknesses. So going into this, I had a bit of heat planned with Chinchino, and a bit of heat with Rotom, but ultimately we couldn't make it work in mock battles. So we redid the team a little bit, and we kind of resorted to just more standard sets, but still a few unconventional bits and bobs. And let's kick things off with Mienshao. We've got our Choice Scarf Mienshao with Close Combat, Poison Jab, Knockoff, and U-turn. This thing comes in and revenge kills a lot of his team. We're running Regenerator Close Combat as well, just because that Rough Skin on Ferrothorn and Druddigon can really punish me on the switches. So if we get that, we can then switch out and heal that back with a Regenerator. We've also got the Poison Jab for the Tapu Lele, and Knockoff for a few other things, U-turn for momentum, but Close Combat, generally speaking, hits 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It hits like 9 out of 11 of his Pokemon at least neutral. You know, that's really good. He doesn't have a lot of good switch-ins to it. We're bringing in Rotom Wash Go Burr. We're bringing a mixed defensive with Volt Switch, Thunderwave, Defog, and Hex. We're running a bit of Thunderwave Hex strats. If we can try and paralyze a few things like the Cinderace, try and paralyze the Pidgeot, and try and paralyze the Hitmonlee as well, the Lele will be in really good shape. It allows us to outspeed his team, and his team isn't really a Trick Room team. So we can definitely abuse that. We can definitely try and Thunderwave everything, which would allow us to sweep better with our next Pokemon. We can also clear away hazards with Defog as well, which is fantastic. And Volt Switch for momentum, just general momentum and general damage. It's pretty good. Also Thunderwave Hex on Ferrothorn does quite a bit of damage as well, because Ferrothorn resists Rotom Wash's Dual Stab. So this way we can come in, we can Thunderwave the Ferrothorn, we can defog its hazards, and we can Hex, so we can do some big damage back. We just got to watch out for Power Whip. We got to scout to see if he has it. If he doesn't, then Rotom Wash can stay in on Ferrothorn 100% of the time. Next up, we got our sweeper, which is no Mew. We're running Fiery MZ, Dragon Dance, Psychic Fang, Shadow Claw, Flare Blitz. He doesn't have a dark type, which is fantastic for us, because it means we can essentially run Psychic Fangs and do lots of damage to him. His best he's got 3 Psychic Resists. Tapu Lele and Xatu are 2 of them, and they both get hit super effectively by Shadow Claw. The last one is Ferrothorn, which is a bit harder to take down, which is why we're running Fiery MZ Flare Blitz. We're only running this for the Ferrothorn. This way we get a good nuke on it. If he predicts and switches, then that's props to him, but we can still get a few more Dragon Dances up, Flare Blitz it, and still do some big damage. Problem is we just might not get the sweep because of the rough skin and the recoil. Next up, we're bringing Patient Zero. We're bringing Choice Specs, Noivern back with Frisk, Draco Meteor, Hurricane, Flamethrower, and U-Turn. We've got enough bulk to live an Adamant Stone Edge unboosted from Hitmonlee 100% of the time, without except for rocks damage. Like if we take rocks damage, we don't live it, but without rocks damage, we do live Adamant, Max Attack, Stone Edge. It doesn't have Ice Punch as well, which is great, but it means that if we can paralyze the Hitmonlee, then we can revenge kill it with Noivern, which would be fantastic for us. It also means if he doesn't get any bulk ups or swords dances or whatever off, we can do big damage back with Hurricane. Generally speaking though, this thing outspeeds his entire team and really puts in a lot of work. The only problem is really Blissey, but we can just U-turn out on that, get momentum in. Blissey is essentially we can get a free switch into Mienshao, or he's just set up fodder for Mew. I got a scout for a Thunder Wave before I do any of that, so I'll probably go into Rotom straight away. So I can scout for a Thunder Wave. We can absorb it. But we got a scout for that, and if he's not carrying Thunder Wave, then it's just an easy switch in for Mienshao or for Mew to come in and really put in work. Next up, we're running our second Scarfer, Hacks with Wings, our Togekiss, Air Slash, Flamethrower, Wish, and Trick. This thing is to keep the party healthy. We're also going to try and trick Scarf onto something like the Blissey, something like the Porygons, maybe the Ferrothorn. That way we can get rid of whatever item they have, really cripple them, and even if we don't manage to get that off, we're still running Scarf Air Slash, which is a pain in anyone's ass to handle. It's also really good at cleaning up his team. We've got the bulk to take on, 2 Hurricanes from Mega Pidgeot, so we can, and Air Slash is a 3-hit KO, I believe, so we can 1v1 the Mega Pidgeot from full with this thing, as well as a few other things. We can try and get some flinch hacks off on the Lele, flinch hacks off on the Gastrodon. Again though, we got Trick for the Blissey, so we'll be fine. If the Blissey decides to come in, we can just trick it and then completely mess it up. So it's really it's really not doing much for the rest of the game. Last but not least, we have our Assault Vest, Taste the Rainbow, our Muck, Poison Jab, Knockoff, Giga Drain, Fire Punch. Giga Drain is for the Gastrodon in case it tries to wall us. Giga Drain is a 3-hit KO and we get recovery back. Otherwise, Poison Jab and Knockoff really hurt him. Knockoff on Blissey or get rid of Porygon 2's item. Excuse me. Poison Jab to hit the Lele, because this thing is our Lele switch in. Also comes in on Pidgeot as well, which is really nice, and comes in on Rotom. So we can knock off whatever, or Poison Jab or whatever. Fire Punch is also for the Ferrothorn, so that it doesn't completely wall us. We might even be able to get some sneaky burns off on something. But if we're running Poison Touch, it's a 30% chance of poisoning plus a 10% chance of burn. That's like a 40% chance for some sort of status if we go Fire Punch, or I think that's how it works, or a really good chance to poison something if we go for the Poison Jab. But hopefully this thing can really put in the work. We've got the bulk to live a bunch of hits from Lele, so hopefully we'll be okay. I probably didn't explain this this team as best as I could have, because I don't know, it's like 7 p.m. I'm about to get myself some dinner. I also kind of struggled putting this team together, to be completely honest. I had a hard time trying to figure out what I should bring, whether I run this heat. I had a hard time trying to make sets. Opted out of Mega Scizor purely because of Psychic Terrain. Also, a lot of his Pokemon get fire coverage. Lele, I think, gets Mystical Fire. Blissey gets Flamethrower. Pidgeot gets Heat Wave. Cinderace is just a Cinderace, A lot of his Pokemon get fire coverage. It's really not fun for for Cinderace. I didn't bring Go-Goat. I was gonna bring Go-Goat, but I opted out. Again, the Cinderace and the Mega Pidgeot are both very, very likely to come, and Go-Goat just doesn't handle either of them well. I was gonna bring the Volcanion, like a sort of bulky Power Herb, Solar Beam, maybe Volcanion set. Excuse me, just need a bit of water. I'm out of water. Yeah, we got to deal with that. But like to hit the Gastrodon, but it gets hard walled by Blissey. I figured Noivern was better because it outsped everything. I was thinking about bringing Piloswine, but again, sort of Psychic Terrain kind of nullifies Ice Shard, which is part of its gimmick, and which would also be brought to hit the Mega Pidgeot. It also didn't quite take the hits that I wanted it to. I ran the calcs, it just couldn't really hold its own for too long. And lastly, Chinchino. I did have a Chinchino set that I was about to bring, but I couldn't. It was a setup Chinchino, but I couldn't actually get the opportunity to set it up like I wanted it to after a few mocks with Cats, who I actually am playing next week. So shout outs to him now, shout outs to him in about a week's time. But this is in the end the team that I thought was the best bring for this game. I'm not particularly I'm not entirely sure how we'll go. If we can manage to get the sweep with Mew, or at least break through his team so that Noivern or Mienshao or even Togekiss can clean up. I say even because I don't know how the game's going to play. I don't know if we can get the trick off or not, but if we don't, we've still got two very, very fast choice Pokemon. So hopefully that can hopefully we can put in the work with all that. The reason I didn't bring stuff like maybe Scarf Noivern to try and outspeed the Cinderace is because if he's running Scarf Cinderace, then Rotom Wash walls him exceptionally easily. Scarf Cinderace is a lot easier to wall than Banded, and if he does run Banded, we can just outspeed it with Noivern, outspeed it with Mienshao, and revenge kill it fairly easily. So I thought that if he was Banded, we'd take we can revenge kill it offensively. If he's Scarf, he's a lot more easier to deal with. But we do need to set up more with Mew in that regard. So that's the team we've got for this week and for this battle, and I will see you guys in just a few moments. Welcome back, guys. We are about to take on Cuban. We've got our calcs up ready to go. Everyone's there. We got our matchup right here. So let's just send the challenge and get right into it. Alright, we're currently 1-1 with a neutral differential. I think we're sitting at, after the games that have been played so far, we're currently sitting at 10th, so we could get a pretty big boost from after a win here. Alright, so he brings the Blissey, he brings the Pidgeot, the Mega Pidgeot, he brings the Ferrothorn, the Gastrodon, the Cinderace, and the Tapu Lele. Okay, so, alright, he's just got to use the bathroom. Alright, that gives us some time to work out our lead. So, possible leads that he could have could be Ferrothorn. He could be leading, he could lead Ferrothorn, he could lead Cinderace, he could lead Tapu Lele. Or he could lead Pidgeot. Those are the most likely leads in my opinion. Maybe not even Lele, maybe just Pidgeot and, Pidgeot, Ferrothorn, Cinderace. It's probably in my best interests to lead with Patient Zero, because then I get the Frisk, because I'm running Specs and I outspeed his entire team. If he's running, so I can Frisk and I can see if his lead is a Scarf, if he leads with Cinderace. I can see what item he has with Ferrothorn. How much does Noivern do to Pidgeot? Draco Meteor can kill Mega Pidgeot as well. He's not going to be running a lot of bulk, so because he needs the speed to outspeed he needs the speed on Pidgeot to outspeed Chinchino. So he won't be running much bulk. So there is a very, very good chance that Draco Meteor will kill. Either way, I'll probably just U-turn out and go straight into Muck. If he leads Cinderace, I can scout to see what his item is. Then I can make plays depending on what his item is. If he's Scarf, I'll hard switch into Rotom. If he's Banded, or anything other than Scarf, actually, I can stay in and click Draco and we can get a kill. Or I can predict the Lele switch. So I think Noivern is probably the best lead for me. I can scout out to see what item they are, and then I can make plays regardless. I can make plays based on what I think, on what item he has, what he leads with, etc. We might even be able to scout like an Ockerberry on Ferrothorn, which means that we can just U-turn out straight into something else. So, but it also means he doesn't run leftovers, which is good, and he'll probably be running Leech Seed, because otherwise he won't have the recovery and he'll be relying on Blissey, which, to be fair, is pretty good. It's a pretty reliable Wish Passer, but I think we got to scout out Thunderwave on Blissey to see if Mienshao is a switch in every time it comes in, and to see if we can set up on it with Mew. But he's probably running some sort of status, maybe Toxic, maybe Thunderwave, one of the two. Toxic, I think, is a lot more easy to deal with, considering we're running Regenerator Mienshao, and that we're running Mew is a sweeper, so we can just set it on a timer and let it go. Either way, we'll play it by ear, but we'll lead Noivern, see what he leads with, see if he leads with a Scarf. If he leads with a Scarf, I'll switch out. His switch into Noivern is probably Blissey, so I might just U-turn out anyway. I mean, I don't really see any other potential switch in, maybe Lele predicting a Draco Meteor, but if he does go into, if he does switch hard into Blissey on the Noivern lead, then I can U-turn out into Mienshao and we can get a big close combat off on something, because his resist is Lele and Lele doesn't want to take a poison jab. Or he goes into Gastrodon. Oh, this is tough. This is tough. How much is Gastrodon actually taking from Mew at +2? How much chip do we need to get on that thing? Gastrodon. We need to get chip on a few things, but it's 2 hit KO. Okay, so he leads with Ferrothorn, and okay, so he's running Rocky Helmet. So I can go for a Flamethrower here, which does some pretty big damage to pretty much anything. He's probably not staying in at all. He could run Protect. He could be Protect to see what we are. If he does Protect, we can go hard into Togekiss and try and trick Scarf onto the Blissey. So that is a thing we could do if we U-turn. If we Flamethrower, I think we got to play aggressive, but I want to make sure we get that momentum, because chances are he does not stay in here. So I think we go for a U-turn. Yeah, so he does switch into Blissey. I love that nickname. So now we can just go hard into... should we go into Mew? No, we can't go into Mew and go for the setup yet. I think we go hard into Mienshao. Okay, and now we can... now I think we can get some momentum. We can get some more momentum, and we can go for a U-turn on the switch into... probably the switch into Lele, but he might also protect, predicting the high jump kick. In that case, I'm just going to go for a U-turn. I'm just going to go for a U-turn again and keep that momentum. Because if he does, actually, if he does... We might even be able to go for a knockoff, maybe knock leftovers off on Blissey, maybe knock something off on Lele, maybe knock off something on Gastrodon. That could be a play. Because he's probably running Protect for the high jump kick, but we're not running high jump kick, obviously. I think we can just go U-turn, but I think knockoff is probably the better play in terms of longevity. We can get rid of leftovers off on something. We can potentially get rid of that Rocky Helmet. So, and we do have that. We do have Mark to switch in if Lele comes. We've got switch-ins. So yeah, let's go for the knockoff. We get the knockoff on Lele. What did he have? That did a lot of damage, and we knock off his choice specs, which is going to be massive for us. So he's probably not running Protect. That's what I can gather from this. He was going for the 4 times resist, 2 high jump kick. So we get rid of his spec, so he's not doing nearly as much as he was before. So now we can go straight into Alolan Muck and wall this thing completely. He could predict that, but I don't really know what he goes into, because we do have Giga Drain for the Gastrodon, and we do take hits from the Gastrodon. We take Earth Powers relatively well. Not that we really want to, but we can. Alright, so we go into Muck, and he does go for the Moonblast, which we absolutely eat. We can go for a Poison Jab right now. We can try and get a Poison off on something. He might predict that though and go into the Ferrothorn. So I think I'm going to go for another knockoff, because there's no way he stays in. So we can knock off something else. Probably the Ferrothorn, maybe the Gastrodon. If we can get a Poison on the Gastrodon as well, that could be massive. So he probably knows that we're Assault Vest now, because that's definitely an offensive Tapu Lele if it was running Choice Specs. So he knows we're offensive. We need to make sure that we keep Muck healthy though. I also got to make sure that Blissey is actually his his Togekiss switch in, because then I can get because if I can Trick Scarf onto that thing, we'll be in fantastic shape. All right, so he does go into the Ferrothorn, so we get a big knockoff, and we can knock off his Rocky Helmet, although that does do a lot to us. Now I think we can go into Togekiss and threaten a trick, so we can Trick Scarf onto the Ferrothorn, we can Trick Scarf onto the Blissey, onto the Gastrodon, or we can just Wish Pass back into Muck. I think we should Wish Pass just because we don't know what he's gonna do. Okay, so Blissey is his switch in. Blissey is his switch in to Togekiss, so that's good. So now we know that we can safely get that trick off. On the next time we bring in Togekiss, and if we can get that trick off, then we can go into Mienshao or something, and we can definitely sorry, not Mienshao. We can go into Mew, and we can definitely get that set up. Okay, this game is going pretty well so far. So we can get the Wish Pass into Muck. We know he can't kill us. He guaranteed cannot kill us. He can't Toxic us either. He could Thunder Wave. Okay, so he goes for his own Wish. He probably goes into Tapu Lele or Ferrothorn. I'm going to go for a Poison Jab. Okay, so he goes into Ferrothorn. So now we can go back into Togekiss, I think. Yeah, we can go back into Togekiss. We can threaten a Flamethrower. So he goes for a Leech Seed. We can definitely threaten the Flamethrower. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so he protects on the Flamethrower, so he knows we're going to fire off a Flamethrower. So he's going to go into either Gastrodon or Blissey. Either way, Mienshao is probably the switch in. So we're going to go Mienshao, because there's no way he stays in on this. Okay. No way he stays in. So let's go into, so we go into Mienshao, and he does go, okay, so he goes into the Cinderace. Okay, so we don't know what set this Cinderace is, so we have to go hard into Rotom Wash. Alright, we're gonna go hard into Rotom. So he's making the offensive play, he's making the aggressive play into Cinderace. Maybe if we went for a Air Slash, he wouldn't have done that, but we had to go aggressive. We had to reveal Flamethrower there. So now we go hard into Rotom. We find out right now, okay, what set is that? Rotom Wash against Cinderace. Pyro Ball typically with, okay, Pyro Ball from Heavy Duty Boots, Jolly does 23 to 27. That did 34%, so it could be Jolly Choice Band. Yeah, that's not Jolly Choice Band. It could be Charcoal, maybe. No, it's not Charcoal. Maybe he's Adamant. Yeah, he might be Adamant. Either way, a Thunder Wave is pretty reliable here. Although he could go into Gastrodon. So I think what we got to do is we're going to go into. I think we're going to go into Togekiss on the Gastrodon switch. I think that's what we want to do. Because we can't go for a Volt switch. He's 100% going into Gastrodon. So let's go into Togekiss. Okay, so he U-turns. He's Life Orb. Oh, I should have seen that earlier. So he's Life Orb. He's Adamant Life Orb, I think. I think that's what that damage is. Maybe he could still be Jolly. Yeah, he might be Jolly Life Orb. That might have been a high roll. He's probably Jolly Life Orb. But he's Life Orb nonetheless, which is good because it means he gets chipped down each turn. From that Life Orb, we don't know if he's got Court Change yet, so we don't know if we can... we don't even have rocks, so that's like nothing to worry about. I wasn't going to bring rocks anyway because his Cinderace has Court Change, and my team doesn't handle rocks too well on its own. So let's see what he does. He could go into Ferrothorn, which was okay. Could go into Blissey. If he goes into Blissey, we can get the trick off. If he goes into Gastrodon, we can get the trick off. If he goes into Ferrothorn, then we probably switch on the Protect. Okay, he goes into Pidgeot. So we are we are Scarfed. We live a hit. I know we live a hit. And we can't let this thing set up if he chooses to set up. So we're gonna go straight for an Air Slash. Do we flinch? No, we don't. Okay, so he knows we're Scarfed now. But we have to go for the damage. We can't let it, if it is set up like Work Up or Agility, we can't allow that to happen. Because he has U-turn, he probably isn't set up, which is really good to know. But he knows we're Scarfed now, so he's probably thinking about what that Mienshao could be. So I don't think he has a choice Pokemon in this game. Okay, so he goes straight into Blissey. We don't know if he is running Thunder Wave, so I think now we go into Rotom. Actually, no. We don't go into Rotom because we need to make sure Rotom can take hits from the Cinderace. We're going to go into Muck. It's fine if Muck takes a Paralysis. But we find out now if he's Thunder Wave. Okay, so we're just going for the Wish, which is okay. What does he go into? He could go into the Pidgeot, could go into the Ferrothorn, he could stay in, could go into Lele. Poison Jab once again is probably my best play, so I think I'm gonna go for that. Okay, so he does keep going into the Ferrothorn. This time we're going to go into Noivern. Or, yeah, we're gonna go into Noivern. Okay, so he goes for the Gyro Ball, that did a lot. We can go for a Flamethrower here, although he's probably going to Protect to scout it. So I think we go... So we Protect, Leech Seed, Gyro Ball. How much is Blissey taking from Mew? Blissey from Mew at +2. Okay, so that's about 50%. So he takes 2. I don't think we're good for the sweep yet. We could be. But he's probably going to go for Protect. So... because he knows we're Frisk. I think we got to go for the Flamethrower because he might not Protect. Okay, so we just go straight into Blissey, which is okay. Now we're going to go... I think we're going to go into Mienshao and put the offensive pressure on. Because I don't think he's running Thunder Wave. It doesn't seem like he is. But then again, I still don't know, so I might just go back into Muck. Okay, so he just goes for the Wish. He's probably going to go back into Ferrothorn, so I'm just going to go for a Fire Punch. Or we can go hard into Noivern. Again. Or we can go hard into Mew and start setting up. Yeah, let's do that. Let's go hard into Mew and start setting up and hope that he doesn't Thunder Wave. Because he might Thunder Wave, but I really hope he doesn't. we got to play this aggressively. I think we can go into Mew and start setting up though. Oh, he goes into the Pidgeot. Okay. He goes into Pidgeot. So I can go back into Muck. I don't want to set up on the Pidgeot. Okay, so he goes for the U-turn, so he gets that momentum. What does he go into? Goes into Ferrothorn. Alright, I can go for a Fire Punch here and we can see if we can see how physically defensive he is. He goes for a Leech Seed and then we can switch on the Protect. So we'll go for a Fire Punch. That does a lot. We get the Iron Barbs chip and he just goes for the Gyro Ball. Okay. How much did Muck take? From Ferrothorn, Gyro Ball. Muck took about 27%. So he could be brave. He's got. What the hell is this thing? Gyro Ball did 27%. How did it do that much? That's what I want to know. How did it do that much? Maybe the Gyro Ball calc is weird, but how much is it doing to Mew? Okay, it's doing quite a lot to Mew. I don't think he's running Power Whip though. So I think we can go, how much is it doing to Togekiss? I don't think he's that. Let's go Impish. Gyro Ball's doing a lot to Togekiss. I think Rotom Wash is probably our best switch in. Yeah, we're not taking anything from that thing, but he probably goes for a Leech Seed. This is tough. How much is Mienshao taking? Okay, a lot. Yeah, we kind of struggle against this thing, but I'm gonna go Rotom. He goes into Gastrodon. Okay, we get a bit of leftovers back. Now I think we can go into Togekiss. We can see if we can get a Wish Off back into Muck. So let's go into Kiss. He'll probably go for a Toxic. Okay. So let's go into Kiss. He goes into Blissey. Alright, we can trick Scarf right now. Because he 100% goes for a Wish, so we can definitely trick Scarf right now. There's no way he doesn't go for a Wish. No! Oh shit, okay. Okay, but Rotom takes hits better now. Rotom takes hits better. So that's good, let's go on a Rotom. But now, Cinderace outspeeds my entire team. But we can trick Life Orb onto something as well. We can still trick Life Orb onto something. Jeez, he made that play he really made that play well. Now we can trick Life Orb onto something. We can trick Life Orb onto something because I don't think Blissey really wants a Life Orb, because then every time it does maybe a Seismic Toss, it loses a bit of HP. Same with Gastrodon or Ferrothorn. Although no, we don't want to trick it onto Ferrothorn. Okay, so we take that, but we get burnt. That's not good. So let's go for a Thunder Wave. Okay, so he goes into Ferrothorn. We go for a Thunder Wave. Now I think we can go for a Hex. I think we can go for a Hex here. How much are we doing? Rotom, Wash, oh, right there. 2. Paralyzed. Hex is doing that much. Yeah, we can't really do that. So let's Volt Switch. And I think we go... Who do we go into? I think we got to go into Mew and try and start the setup, because he probably goes... Actually, no, he probably goes for a Leech Seed. He probably goes for a Leech Seed to get that HP back. So I think we go into Kiss. Nothing on his team really wants to take a Life Orb, Air Slash, and we can just set up and we can just get Wishes off in front of Blissey. But if he goes for a Gyro Ball, we're in trouble. I think I've got to go into Noivern, because Noivern at the moment seems to be the most expendable. Although we can still put some serious pressure on him once Blissey's gone, but I think this is tough. Or we could go into Mienshao. I think we go into Mienshao on the Leech Seed. Okay, so he goes for the Gyro Ball. I don't think he stays in. But we've got Regenerator, so that's okay. What does he go into? If he goes into... He could go into Lele. I think I U-turn here, although we probably protect. If he protects, we can go in a Mew. We can get that regenerator back. So let's do that. I think he protects. I think he protects. And scouts what I'm going to do before I, so we can make a play. I don't think he goes hard. I don't think he switches hard. Okay, what does he do? He hard switches into Lele. Okay. We get that HP back with Redemption, but I think we go in a muck on the Lele. Because we gotta go in a muck. Okay. What is that fourth move on Ferrothorn? I think we're close to... I think we might as well go for the sweep because we... Sorry. At some point, because we really need to break him. We really need to break his team. We really need to break his team down. So, going for the sweep might not necessarily be a bad thing this early on. Okay, so he goes into Gastrodon. We can go for a Giga Drain and we can get some HP back because he can't really touch me too much. Okay, so he just goes for the Scald. Does he get a burn? No, he doesn't. Okay, that's good. We can go for another Giga Drain. We can go for a knockoff. I think let's go for a knockoff. Because I don't think he stays in. Because he doesn't win this 1v1. He could. But I think a knockoff is probably a better play. This guy's making some really weird switches. I need to stay on top of my game. This is a tough battle. Okay, so he does go into the Cinderace, so we can get the big knockoff off the, and we can get rid of the Scarf, which is good. Now he doesn't have an item at all. We got to switch into Rotom now, so we got to do that. Power Ball does a lot of damage. Jeez. I think we might have to let Rotom go down here, which is very unfortunate. Okay, so he just goes for a U-turn. So Rotom goes down, unfortunately. He gets the U-turn off into something. If he goes into Ferrothorn, we can go into Mew and start setting up. Okay, so he goes into Pidgeot. So now we can go into Noivern. We can definitely go into Noivern. Because there's a good chance that he doesn't live a Draco. But he's got 3 decent Draco switches. So I think we go for a U-turn. Because Ferrothorn doesn't want to take 2 Dracos, and we don't want to let Lele come in for free. So we could Hurricane. Or we can U-turn. Or we can flame... Okay, we could Flamethrower, actually. That's probably a safer play. This is tough. I don't think he stays in. He could, but I don't think he does. But we got to play aggressive. How much is Ferrothorn taking from Noivern's Draco? Does he take 2? If he's physically defensive, I don't think he takes 2. I think we go for a Draco. Okay, so he goes into Blissey. So we get some good damage off. I think we can go into Redemption here. Okay, so he goes for a Wish. What does he wish into? Probably the Ferrothorn, could be the Lele. Could be the Cinderace. I think my best bet is a close combat. If he goes into Lele, we can just go back into Muck and we can live hits. I think. But I think my best bet is a close combat here. Because it hits most of what he's got. And it might do a good chunk to Lele as well. Because we're pretty... How much is it doing to Lele? Mianchao to Tapu Lele. Choice Spect, close combat does about that much. We could go Poison Jab, but I can't afford him to get that wish off into like Cinderace or the Ferrothorn or something, so I think we have to go for a close combat here. Okay, so he does go into Lele. Do we get a crit though? Because a crit could be huge. No, we don't. Okay, so he gets that off. We got to go into Muck now. We've got to go into Muck. We can't stay in. Jeez, he's playing really well. We need to find an opening to get Mew in the setup. We really need to find an opening to get Mew in, and we need to find it soon. Okay, so he sends in Cinderace. We don't really have the best switches. Togekiss hasn't been doing too much, so I think we let that thing go down, or we let it take a Pyro Ball. He's playing really well with the Cinderace. Okay, we gotta let Togekiss take this hit. Yep. All right, so now we go into Mienshao. We can get a U-turn off because he doesn't stay in. I don't think he stays in. I really don't think he stays in. So we can get the U-turn off into something else. He could. Yeah, so he doesn't stay in. He goes into Lele. So we get the U-turn off, and we can go into Muck now. Oh no, we can go into Patient Zero. We can go into Patient Zero. We can threaten the Hurricane. So we'll go for another U-turn. So we're getting momentum back. We'll threaten the Hurricane or the Flamethrower because he probably thinks he probably knows we're Specs at this point based on that damage on Blissey, because that did a lot. He's playing this really well, but we can't afford to slip up. We need to find an opening to get Mew in on Ferrothorn, or maybe in on Gastrodon. Or Blissey, that works too. Alright, now we go into... No, we gotta go into Mienshao, we gotta keep the offensive pressure. I think we go for a close combat, predicting another U-turn. So let's do that. So he goes for Protect. Okay, so what could he go into here? Because he's not staying in. He's probably going into the Lele. So I can go into Noivern. Yeah. Now I can go for a Hurricane here, I think. Okay, what is he gonna do? Maybe go for Hurricane. Yeah, I think we got to go for the Hurricane here, because I don't think Muck can take another 2 at the moment. So I think we go for a Hurricane. We got to keep playing offensive and not let that Cinderace in, because every time Cinderace comes in now, we lose a Pokemon. That burn on Rotom was massive. Every time Cinderace comes in, we lose someone. So what does he do? Actually, does Flamethrower kill a Specs Lele? No, it doesn't. Hurricane does though. So we gotta go for the Hurricane. Okay. What does he do? If he goes into Blissey, it takes a good chunk of damage. If we can go hard into Noivern. Oh, sorry, not Noivern. We can go hard into Mienshao. Stealth Rock. Yeah, probably. That Ferrothorn's last move could be Stealth Rock. That is viable. Okay, so he stays in and we get the kill. Whew, okay. Okay, we get the kill. So he goes into Blissey. Let's go in. We have to go hard Mienshao and pray that he doesn't Thunder Wave. I don't think he does. If he had Thunder Wave, he probably would have used it by now. Okay, so he just goes for the Wish. He doesn't have a close combat switch in now, so we go for the close combat. His close combat switch in is gone. Pidgeot doesn't live too. So the game's completely opened up now. Mienshao now has a much better time against his team because we don't have to worry. We don't have to over-predict about close combat into Lele. We get the kill on Gastrodon. Okay, we're coming back. We're coming back. Pidgeot does live a close combat though, so we can't stay in. We can't stay in on Pidgeot. If it goes into anything else, we can stay in, but we can't stay in on the Pidgeot. Okay, this game's opened up. That play, that Hurricane on Lele was massive because I was very tempted to U-turn, but we didn't. Because we just went like on a massive momentum spree. And now Lele's gone. So we're starting to turn this game around, but that Cinderace is still worrisome. We do outspeed it though with the Scarf, because Cinderace doesn't have an item. That Mega Pidgeot doesn't outspeed me. And Ferrothorn and Blissey, I think, both go down to a close combat, right? Blissey against Mienshao. Yeah, Blissey goes down to a close combat at that range. Max defense, and we know he's leftovers, so we know he's not Chopple. Not that he can do anything to us back, but... Okay, the game's starting to open up. If he goes, please don't go into Pidgeot. I really, really hope he doesn't go into... Okay, so he goes into Cinderace. Let's go for another close combat. Gone. Fantastic. So that's fantastic. Now you can go into Pidgeot, because now the... Okay, cool. You can go into Pidgeot. That's fine. That's perfectly fine. I am going to go... Noivern still has some viability, but Muck is pretty much gone. So I'm going to go into Muck. Okay, so we went for the Hurricane. Now I can get a Poison Jab off, or I can get a Fire Punch. I can probably go for the Fire Punch into Ferrothorn. If he goes into Blissey, I'm not letting him get a Wish off for free. If he goes into Blissey, I don't let him get a Wish off for free. Okay, what do you do? If you go into Blissey, you're going to get hit with a massive fucking knockoff. Alright, so he goes into the Spike. The Spike gets hit with a big Iron Barbs, and now we can go... Now we go back into Mienshao. Mienshao is Mienshao is old reliable at this point. We don't want to... As much as I want to go into Mew, I don't want to go into Mew, you know? Because, like, I don't want to risk not being able to set up. I don't want to risk him getting all that HP back and me not being able to win from here. Alright, Noivern has much less viability now, so I think I go into Noivern. Oh no, I go into Mew, because Noivern outspeeds and we can U-turn. I think Mew lives hits anyway, so we go into Mew. That crit was massive. Okay, let's go for the Inferno Overdrive. Yeah, so he kills. Now we go into Noivern. We know he knows we're Specs, so we can Draco... Okay. We Draco into Blissey. We Draco Meteor into Blissey. We go hard Mienshao. I think we just go for the Draco. I think we just go for the Draco. I think we go for the Draco. Or do we go for the U-turn? If we go for the U-turn, we lose if he stays in. This is big. Okay, what does he do? The crit on Mew was huge because we lived that. What does he do? So he needs Pidgeot to win. He needs Pidgeot to beat the Mienshao. So he needs Pidgeot to beat Mienshao. I think if we go for the Hurricane, we don't lose that. Okay, if we go for the Hurricane, we don't lose the special attack, but we could miss. If we go for the Flamethrower and he stays in, then we put it in range for close combat to kill, I believe. Close combat to Pidgeot Mega does about 75%. Noivern to Pidgeot with Flamethrower does about 50. So I think Flamethrower is the play. We stay in, we click Flamethrower. Okay, so he goes into Blissey. Now, we have to hard switch into Mienshao in order to We have to hard switch into Mienshao in order to kill the Blissey. So we might predict that and go into Pidgeot. So I'm going to go for a Flamethrower again. Yes! Woo! We get that right. We get that right. Now we go for the Flamethrower. We go for the Flamethrower. We either get the kill or we like... Because now Close Combat kills Mega Pidgeot. Close Combat kills the Pidgeot now. So now we go back... Now he goes back into Blissey. We get the crit. That's okay. We can't let him get the Wish Up. So we're going to go Mienshao. And we're going to go Close Combat. And we're going to kill the Pidgeot. We're going to Close Combat. We're going to kill the Pidgeot. Please, please kill the Pidgeot. I don't know how... that Pidgeot has to be speedy and it has to be offensive. I don't think he lives a Close Combat. We have to kill the Pidgeot. Come on. I think we might just... I think we won this. But it's not over till it's over. This is so intense. This is so intense. We brought the game back. We got rid of the Lele and we brought the game back with Mienshao. He goes for the Protect. That's okay. Close Combat should still kill. Or it should at least like do it should at least do a lot. It kills. Okay. Now I think we win. I think we win now. I think we win. Wow. GG. Okay, that game was so intense. That game was insane. We started off slow, but we managed to bring it back and we were able to get the win. Oh my god, Mienshao just saved us. Mienshao saved us. Oh my god. Okay, that's a big win. We're doing well this week. By the time I'm recording this, my TBA game has already happened. I won't spoil any of that. But you know, it was a great game. This is a great game. I probably shouldn't have said that. Whatever. I don't care. You know, we came up with a win. We're now 2-1 plus 2. That would put us, I believe, at I think at 6th or 7th, something like that. We come up with a win, and now we face off next week with another really tough opponent. So I'm looking forward to that. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more Pokemon related content. I will see you guys in the next video.